Avatar: The Last Airbender was a fantastic show, not just for its world-building elements and unique designs, but also because of the design of the characters themselves, just like real people. It is their realistic displays of humanity that make the show that much more immersive. Tailing on the Netflix re-airing of this series, today we'll be looking at one of the most intriguing antagonists, Princess Azula of the Fire Nation. Azula's character is calculating, cutthroat, and cold. She is ruthless in pursuing her tactics and detailed in her planning. She is one of the most formidable opponents in animation at the ripe age of 14, because she doesn't just rely on strength or power, though she has plenty of both. She relies on her detachment from emotions and her detachment from morals, from rigidity. She's adaptive. She's elusive. She's evasive. She relies on her clever thinking and broad foresight. She makes it so that she doesn't care about other people, and because of this, it's both her weakness and her strength. People often make the mistake with Azula that because she is detached, that she cannot read people. In an intimate sense, this is true. In an objective sense, it is anything but. She can assess enemies and use their patterns and motivations against them, striking them down. But we're not here speaking on her today because she won through her born ruthlessness. We're here because due to it, she lost everything. We're here because, as everyone knows by now, Azula is not the unaffected pillar of strength that she pretends to be. Why did Azula start hallucinating? Why did she lose the Agni Kai? What was it that drove her to madness and defeat when she outmatched Zuko in nearly every single way? The answer is simple: love. And no, not the cheesy love tropes movies and shows often rely on, usually as a vague cure-all to the problems of protagonists and the downfall of villains.
Ow. Love, Tars, love. It's just like Bran said.
The love we're talking about is the love found in relationships between families, friends, the undercurrent of human development, and the driving force behind compassion. There are two types of love: conditional love and unconditional love. Society and evolution factors in that families need to love and connect with their children in order for them to grow up mentally healthy. Children who are raised in neglect from an early age and who face abuse are often riddled with health and developmental issues, both physically and mentally. Azula was never loved unconditionally. Her father's love was conditional upon her performance and her being his progeny. It was conditional on values he respected, such as brutality and coldness and victory. Ozai found the greatest respect in being feared, and so he reigned the Fire Kingdom in that way. Azula, being the observant child she was, adopted this persona not just to improve herself in her own twisted way, but to achieve her father's love. Had she not been the princess, had she not been perfect, he wouldn't have shown her as much affection as he did. The reason she is a prodigy is very likely because she pushed so hard solely for scraps of that conditional love. Every time Azula and her father are shown in the same frame, she is beneath him, submitting. It is the same with Zuko, but Zuko grew in ways that Azula did not. Zuko was capable of change from Ozai's horrific parenting, because Zuko had unconditional love, even when Ozai failed to give it to him. Zuko had Iroh, who loved him, even in the bowels of imprisonment and betrayal. Zuko had his mother, who even in absence, he knew she loved him dearly. Those bonds helped him on his journey to detach his inherent value from his father's conditional love. What his father thought of him eventually did not matter to Zuko anymore, because he learned to be a person who sustained their own self-worth with the help of his uncle Iroh. It takes Zuko several seasons and rebounds to achieve this, but in the end, he succeeds.
I'm not taking orders from you anymore.
You will obey me, or this defiant breath will be your last.
Think again. I am going to speak my mind, and you are going to listen.
It results in one of the greatest redemption arcs captured on screen. Zuko is a beloved character because of his growth over insurmountable odds. But would he have beat those odds without unconditional love? Without Iroh? Without his mother? Without someone who loved him not because he was skilled, or a prince, or wealthy, or handsome, but because he was himself alone. When depicted with Iroh or his mother, Zuko was always beside them, on the same level, the same footing. They meet each other halfway, showing effort on both their parts. It symbolizes that with Iroh, Zuko can be honest and unafraid of barriers or class systems or walls to consider. He can speak to Iroh as a true friend, a true family member. Ozai would never allow this. It goes against his own principles. That is why even his golden child, his prodigy, must bow or kneel before him. He does not consider her on his level, and due to that, she is distanced even further from his love.
Silence yourself.
But it was my idea to burn everything to the ground. I deserve to be by your side.
Azula!
Enter Azula. Azula has no unconditional love in her life. Even May and Ty Lee are with her because it was convenient. They love her, yes, but they are aware that she has a difficult time receiving such love and finds it near impossible to reciprocate. They know that is a symptom of her upbringing, and they acknowledge it. They know they cannot love her out of her conditioning at this point. They both have their own problems and self-esteems to attend to. They aren't like Iroh, an older man who lived a long life and learned much with all the time and energy to pour love into a possibility, a potential. They're young women themselves. They have their own lives to live. And Azula makes it very difficult to love her. This is intentional. She sees love and emotions in general as weaknesses. Things that deter her from being the prodigal, dangerous warrior she thrives on being for her father's attention and praise, as well as the fear and respect of others. But a look closer shows that Azula is not without feelings. She is still human. She knows Zuko receives a kind of love from both Iroh and her mother that she did not feel she received. Her mother calling her a monster made Azula feel that the door for unconditional love, in the most basic sense, a mother's love, was closed off to her. By imitating her father's desires, she unknowingly distanced her mother, who did not like their father's way of doing things. She did not seem to realize the enormity of this, and internalized her mother's distaste as something inherently wrong and unlovable in her. And so she threw herself into her father's desires even further, abandoning everything else, as nothing else mattered more to Azula than feeling that love. Her father's love was something achievable, something formulaic. It came with conditions, so she analyzed each one and worked very hard to satisfy them all, whereas her mother's was not conditional, so she wasn't sure how to go about getting that. She is but a child, and the lack of love and the warring with her emotions frazzles her, tires her, and destroys her in the end. Without her father to try and please, she does not know who she truly is any longer. She has a breakdown, fully feeling the pain of being unloved and unworthy despite all her best efforts. It's an ironic thing, one that I think the showrunners likely planned. For the one person who likely could have given Azula the unconditional love she was chasing was the one person she wanted to destroy, Zuko. Zuko loved his sister. He didn't like her. He didn't trust her. He did not think she was a good person in the slightest, but he did love her. His affection shows in all the times he is vulnerable with her, even when knowing she would use his vulnerabilities against him. It was not weakness as they both believed, but an offer to help Azula change and be vulnerable herself. It is in that vulnerability where the truth lies, that she is unhappy, that despite fulfilling all of Ozai's demands and desires, she is still not enough for him, that she herself feels a void within her left behind by her mother and her upbringing that she cannot fill, no matter how many battles she wins or how many opponents she subdues. Even during the coronation and gaining her throne, an ultimate symbol of success and closeness to her father in her mind, Azula and the audience realize just how empty of an achievement it really is, how alone and unloved Azula still remains. Through vulnerability and expanding his viewpoints and beliefs, something Iroh constantly insisted on, Zuko was able to face his fears head-on, voice them, and is only then able to dismantle them and surpass them. I think subconsciously he wanted to give Azula that same chance to grow in the only way he knew how. Neither of them knew it, too caught up in their own pain and problems to see, but it was there. His affection showed again and again when he visits her in prison and tries to connect with her again despite all that has occurred. Could Azula be redeemed? Maybe, but it would take a redemption arc longer and thornier than Zuko's ever was. Zuko took 3 seasons, and he wasn't nearly as power-hungry, twisted, or alone as Azula was. So what do you all think? Comment down below your thoughts, like, subscribe, and share if you like the video. See you next time.